The Glass Witch, a Cinderella story. They tell you Cinderella was a tale of love, of magic, of wishes come true. But they never tell you what the glass slippers were really made of, or why the clock struck midnight with such dread. Cinderella's stepmother did not merely loathe her, she feared her. She feared the soot that clung to her like a second skin, the way the fire never burned her though she curled beside it each night. She feared the way the shadows stretched when Cinderella passed, and the whispers that rose from the walls when the girl was near. "You are not meant to be seen," the stepmother would whisper harshly. "Stay in the shadows where you belong." And so she did. But the shadows did not mind her company. In fact, they welcomed her. They curled around her feet when she walked, kissed her cheeks when she wept. At night, when the rest of the house was asleep, they spoke to her in voices dry and ancient, creaking like floorboards and sighing like chimney smoke. "I hear you," she would murmur to the fire. "I will not forget." The hearth, blackened and ancient, burned hotter when she spoke. In its flames, she saw faces vague and hollow-eyed twisting in the heat. She didn't fear them. They were her only friends. Her stepsisters mocked her still. They preened and pranced and peered into the long mirror in the hall, admiring their own reflections. But the mirror had stopped showing them what they wanted to see. Their smiles were too wide, their eyes too dark and deep, like holes torn into a painting. And when Cinderella walked past, her reflection lingered behind. Sometimes it grinned long after her mouth had closed. When the royal invitation came, her stepmother cackled. "You? At the royal ball? No prince would ever look twice at something as wretched as you." But Cinderella knew the prince would look. He would have to. She climbed the creaking stairs to the attic that night, not to cry, not to wish but to bargain. The attic was older than the rest of the manor. The air was thick, the dust clinging to her skin like old lace. Cobwebs strung the beams like veins, and in the center of the room, something waited. It stood too tall. Its arms were too long. Its smile was a gash that cut across its face, wide and bloodless. "My sweet," it rasped, a voice like bone across wood. "Do you wish to go to the ball?" Cinderella held out her hand. She did not flinch as it took her fingers in its own and pierced her skin with a single black claw. "Give me something in return." Blood dripped onto the floorboards. The shadows twisted. Her rags melted away. Her gown rose from the floor like fog, woven from the fabric of sorrow and smoke. The slippers glass, they would say later, were in truth bones. Smooth and pale, fused together with enchantments older than crowns. They pulsed faintly beneath her feet, as if remembering what they once were. "It is done," she whispered, her voice hollowed with the price she had paid. Down in the garden, a great pumpkin split open with a wet snap. Vines twisted into wheels. Rows of teeth lined the inside where cushions should have been. It opened like a mouth, and she stepped inside. The road to the castle steamed behind her, blood and ash seeping into the cobblestones. The ballroom gleamed, but its light was wrong, too cold, too still. Chandeliers glittered, but in their mirrored facets, guests twitched and moved in ways they should not. Their reflections whispered secrets their mouths did not speak. The prince saw her. His eyes widened, not with awe, but with recognition. He stepped forward, helpless, as if pulled by invisible strings. He did not fall in love. He fell under her spell. All night they danced. Around them, the guests began to vanish one by one into the mirrors that lined the walls. No one screamed. They simply blinked, and they were gone. Outside, the clock tower ticked louder with every passing minute. She did not flee at midnight. She waited. And the clock, that ancient thing, did not strike 12. It struck 13. The sound echoed like a scream across the kingdom. Doors splintered open, darkness spilled in. Not night, but void alive and breathing. The prince dropped to his knees before her, mouth trembling. "You are mine." She touched his cheek. His eyes emptied. The castle bent around her, walls groaning like dying beasts. The moon turned its face away. The land began to rot, and still the clock ticked. One by one, the kingdom crumbled, not to war nor plague, but to her. to Cinderella, to the girl in glass slippers stitched from bones, to the witch of soot and shadow. Now, dear listener, tell me, do you still believe in fairy tales, or do you hear it too? The ticking, the clock, it never stopped, and now it ticks for you.